make some drawers. The frame of the window seat is done, so now it's time to make some drawers. I just picked up a whole bunch of plywood to get this done, and I'm gonna use a 1/2 inch plywood for these drawers rather than the 3/4 inch, which I used for the frame. So for the drawers, I'm gonna use 1/2 inch plywood, and then I also picked up some plywood, some 1/4 inch plywood to use as a backer to the whole base of the window seat, just so it's not open to the wall behind it. And then I also got I got the 1/4 inch plywood to use as the bottom of the drawers as well, the drawer lining. So yeah, let's get started. First time making drawers. Let's see how hard this is.
But before I make the drawers, I have to actually secure my window seat in place. First, I'm securing the base, and I'm using shims to make sure it's level. That way, when I place my window seat on top of the base, I can be sure that everything is level. This base will also leave me space to apply some trim along the bottom. Then I secured my window seat to the base as well as to the studs in the wall. And here I'm screwing the top of my window seat in place from underneath. Now here I'm attaching my face frame using wood glue and brad nails. Okay, and now we're ready to make the drawers. So I'm going to be attaching the drawer boxes together using wood glue and pocket screws.
So to make my drawers, I'm using 1/2 inch plywood, and I've got all the pieces cut to size, and they will fit together like this. I will join them together using pocket holes, pocket screws. So what I'm going to do is create some dados going along the bottom so I can insert my bottom edge. What I'm using is my table saw, and I'm going through and I'm incrementally moving this over a little bit so I can create a groove here which my bottom drawer panel is able to sit within, and then that way it'll fit nice and secure in there. And yes, my table saw is in my creepy basement, so whenever I have to use my table saw, this is where I have to come. But anyhow, I've gone and I've done one pass to create this groove. This groove is not wide enough for my 1/4 inch sheet of plywood, so I have to incrementally move this over a little bit at a time to make this wider and wider and wider until it's a 1/4 inch. That way it can accept the bottom panel of plywood. So that's what I'm gonna do. So right now I had it at 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna just move it over a little bit at a time. Oops, that was way too much. Yeah, put it there. And then we'll do the next pass. And each time I do a pass, I'm testing it to see if it's big enough yet. Nope, not yet. So we're gonna move it over a little bit more, keep going. Okay, and then I take my test piece, 1/4 inch plywood, and that's the dado there cut. And I am fitting it in to see that it slides perfectly in place. I'm going to go up and show you in better light so you can see better, but that will be how the bottom panel of the drawer fits into place. It's actually really late at night, but I was just in the mood for working, so that's why the light is so dim. And if you can hear my neighbors next door, their college-age kids are having a party, and they're all outside in the backyard giggling and laughing and having a good time. So you might hear them. And I don't mind it. I love it actually, because they're enjoying themselves. So anyhow, I am going now to figure out how to assemble these drawer boxes. So I've got the dados cut like I showed you downstairs. I hope you could see that. So now I'm just gonna kind of put everything in its place and then drill the pocket holes. Just love this pocket hole jig. Makes my life so much easier. Okay. So now I'm ready to assemble the drawer, and I'm going to just glue it and screw it at this point. I've got my dados cut for the bottom panel. I've got my pocket holes cut here on the side. And what I'm gonna do is just apply the glue and then use the pocket holes to hold them in place as the glue sets. Before I apply the glue though, I'm gonna actually just screw everything together and make sure that it's fitting okay. And then I'll unscrew it and I'll put in the glue at that point. Just takes a little bit of the pressure off. This is all screwed together. There's no glue applied yet, so it's just, you know, a dry fit. But this is what I mean by the bottom 1/4 inch panel. This is not the one, it's not cut to size, this is just a scrap piece. But it's going to slide into place, into the dados, like this, and it will cover the whole bottom. And then I'll be able to nail it on this end here. And then the good thing about doing it this way, where the back is cut lower and not fully encapsulating it in place, is if there's ever any damage in the future and the bottom gets, you know, ruined by anything, you can easily just take this out. You can slide it out and then replace it and put a new one in. So I really liked this method of making the drawers, and that's why I did it this way. But yeah, this looks like this is gonna fit. Yeah, this looks like this is fitting good. I have a square here as well to make sure that all the corners are square, and they are. So now what I'm gonna do is take out the screws and then use some wood glue and wood glue it in place and then put the screws back in. I'm just unscrewing one side at a time, and that just makes it easier when constructing these with the wood glue, because I don't have to worry so much about it being, you know, back in the right place, because the rest are still screwed in the correct arrangement. Okay. Press this back together and get the screws back in. And I'll go around and do this on all 4 sides. See, it's much easier this way because the screws have already been in, so they just know where to go. Takes the pressure off when you've got the wood glue, you know, in a potential messy situation. You don't want to keep resetting everything. And then I just wipe away any squeeze out. To the other side. Just wipe off. Okay. Piece. Then I'm gonna screw it along the top. My back is all screwed in now. I wanted to point out a mistake that I made because it might help you guys. So when I did my drawer dimensions, I made the face be the full width of the drawer, and then I have my sides sitting within the face rather than on the outside of the face. So then what that means is when I did the pocket holes, I had to make the pocket holes on the sides. But it would have been better if I made the face of the drawer sitting within the sides, because then my pocket holes could have been on the fronts and the back, and then nobody would see them, because if your pocket hole's on the front, you're going to cover this with the face frame, and on the back nobody sees. But now that my pocket holes are on the sides, when you go to open the drawers, people are going to see the pocket holes here. So that's just something that, if I were to do this again, obviously I would not do that. I would have put them on the front. Once I get the drawers hung, I will make the drawer faces because that way I can get precise measurements. I got my drawers fitted in place. Exciting. I decided to go old school with the drawer slides and I just made them out of wood. I'll show you how I did them. But yeah, so now all I have to do is make the face frames. Sorry, not the face frames, the drawer fronts, so it can sit flush, and then I'm gonna add some trim. Obviously I have to do the baseboard trim still, but I'm gonna wait to do that until I have the shelves on the side, so I can do it, because I'm not exactly sure how those shelves are gonna sit, so I might do it in one continuous piece. I just have to kind of see how those are done. But yeah, buddy. So for the drawer slides, I went old school. And I just made some drawer slides using some wood strips on the bottom here with some beeswax and then some wood tracks on the inside there. And it seems to slide good enough. So that's what I'm gonna do. It'll be a lot easier once I add the handle to pull these in and out. But yeah, so all I have to do now is I'm gonna make a stop so the drawer doesn't easily pull all the way out and fall out. So I'll make a stop at the back, and then I'll also add a stop at the back so the drawer sits like perfectly in, so the drawer face is flush. So I'll add just a couple stops at the back inside the cabinets to get the drawer sitting exactly how I want it, and then I'll do that side. I haven't added the tracks yet on that side, but this is coming along. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, all I have to do now is make the drawer fronts and then install the handles on the drawer. And I'm so excited to paint this thing, but I'm gonna probably wait until I get the bookshelves done, I think, and then paint it all at once. And I'm thinking of going with, oh, it's so annoying because, okay, I found what I think is the best color ever, called Italian Basil by Sherwin-Williams. I love that green color, it's so nice. But when I look it up, the color doesn't exist. So I don't know. I came across it online and the person said that that's the color that they used, but whenever I look it up, I can't find it. So anyhow, I don't know, but I think adding a nice pop of color into this room with the big shelving unit and wall, and then have my window seat cushion on top, which I want to pick a fun fabric, a fun texture for that as well. It's going to add so much more like life into this house and into this room. It's going to feel so cozy. I'm so excited for that, but little by little we will get there. So anyhow, just want to update you on the progress. Super excited that my drawers are well, they're not done, but I just have to do the front. Time to build my drawer fronts. So I'm gonna just measure out space I have. I'm making these drawers shaker style, so I've just got the outside sections cut to size, and then now what I have to do is cut the dados in here using my table saw, and then that will accept the 1/4 inch center panel. All right, I got my dados cut. Why am I yelling? I got my dados cut. I did not bring you to the basement to do it because it's just so dark down there, but you can just see I've got the grooves cut on the inside here. So now I'm just gonna drill some pocket holes on my horizontal pieces so I can get them all attached. I will glue and then screw them with those couple pocket holes. It's raining again, it's raining again. I feel so happy that I still have all my fingers after using the table saw to make potatoes. It's so scary. Pocket holes. Okay. It fits. It all fits together. And the slight overhang here I can just cut off once I glue it and screw it together, but it is fitting. And let's make sure it's the right measurement. Yep. So I just rubbed some of this beeswax on my wooden drawer slides here, and that's helping them slide much smoother. It actually works pretty good. I cannot get enough of this Halloween candy. Okay, another evening, some more work here. Time to sand the wood filler on my doors. So I'm gonna sand these doors smooth. Get them ready to install. One thing with plywood is you have to be careful not to over sand them because you don't want to sand through the layer. Okay, I just saw a little chip in the corner here, so I filled that with wood filler. But one thing I'm noticing is the sides, like the stiles and the rails are not perfectly lined up here. So I want to like do a straight cut across so it's all perfect. Like, I'll show you what I mean here. I tried to sand it, but it didn't really work. But if you have a look here, this is not a straight line. This comes out like a little bit here. I'm trying to figure out how to straighten it up, but the problem with using the table saw is if the opposite side isn't perfectly straight, then the table saw relies on the opposite side being perfectly straight. So if it's not, then as you're pushing the piece down, it kind of curves a little bit with whatever swerve is on the other side. So I don't think the table saw is going to really work to straighten out these lines. I could probably do it on the table saw because the opposite side of this does look straight actually. It's just this one side. Let me see. And then my other one, yeah, I think the table saw might actually work for this. This window seat is taking so long. It's taking longer than I anticipated. I'm excited to move on to the bookcase portion because I think that's going to be a lot easier to build. And I'm really excited to paint it. But I haven't decided on what color I want to do. So, yeah. That's where we are. Anyhow, okay. I'm going to trim these down and then I will check back up in with you when I'm installing these on the window seat. And then once these are on the window seat, I can officially say that the window seat is done. Ooh, and I got some cute little drawer pulls for it. Let me show you. How cute are these? So I'm going to put 2 knobs on each drawer. I think it's going to look so cute. Also, the foam for the cushion has arrived, so I have to pick up fabric and build the cushion cover, which I'm also excited about. So yeah, it's coming along. I got my drawer faces cut down to size on the table saw. So now all I have to do is sand these guys, and then I'll be able to attach them to the cabinet. I'm just gonna sand them to make sure the joints, they're smooth at the joints. Hey guys, so I was just sitting here thinking I had to figure out how to attach my drawer fronts, because when you attach your drawer fronts, you really want to make sure that you center it so all the reveals, like on the top and bottom and on the sides, are equal. What I realized was I made my drawer fronts a little bit too small, and I'll show you what I mean. Put this drawer back in. It'll still work, but it's not perfect. And I mean, I don't expect it to be. This is the first time I've ever built a cabinet. So what I mean is, if I were to center this drawer like this, so the reveals are equal, technically this drawer is sitting a little bit up from the bottom, a little bit higher than the drawer base sits, which doesn't really make sense to do, because then you would see the base, right? So I can't really do that. So that kind of leaves me with not many options with how to install these, which in some ways makes my life easier because I don't have to worry about making all the reveals equal, but then it makes the outcome not as perfect. My only option really is to install this flush with the base, because to equalize the gap I would be raising it above the base, which doesn't make sense. So I'll install it as low as I can, which is flush, and then that will leave a slightly larger gap on the top compared to the bottom. And then the sides, what I realized was my drawer fronts, the sides are the exact width of my drawer box. So again, that doesn't really give me any option. I can't wiggle it this way or wiggle it that way. I just have to install it flush with the sides. And that's fine. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll see how it looks. If it really looked like crap, I could redo these drawer fronts, but I think it's gonna look okay. I'm gonna screw these on, and then we'll see. And because I'm just installing them flush with the sides and the bottom, I can actually do it an easier way and screw it on when it's sitting down like this. So just gonna get it aligned. And there we have it. The drawer faces are on. The reveals are not equal, as I said, but I don't think it's that bad. You can see the reveals are larger on the top compared to the bottom. The sides are decent. So what I could do if I wanted to even out the top and the bottom is I could make the drawer slides that I have on the bottom taller. Because I don't know if you remember, but I made wooden drawer slides for the bottom. These drawer slides that I have at the bottom here, if I make these taller, just to orient you, those are the drawer slides at the bottom. If I made these a little bit taller, that would even out the space. It would lift the drawer up a little bit, and then it would even out the space there with the bottom. That would be easy to do, to raise up the height of the drawer slides. Could just glue another thin strip on top of this if I wanted to even out that reveal. Honestly, I don't really care to do that. I'll see how it all looks when I put everything together. For those that have watched my other videos, you might have remembered I made a shaker style cabinet door for my studio kitchen, and I did that in a much simpler way than I did this. I just simply cut the wood to size and then used construction adhesive to essentially just glue on the shaker border. Whereas these, I made the dados and got the like center panel in and did it in a much more complicated way. I don't even know if it was worth all that extra work. I mean, that's the way I see pro wood workers doing it, so that's why I wanted to give it a try. But the other way is so much easier and it looks the same. So I don't know, is there a reason why this way is better? Does it last longer? It was a lot more work. I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out so far, given it's my first time building a cabinet. And what else do I have to say? Oh, I have some paint samples here. So I have been debating what color I want to paint this built-in. I do want to go for a color. I was debating maybe the same color as the kitchen in my studio if I didn't want to go for a color. It's like an off-white, like an oatmeal color. But then I really do think I want a color. I was looking at greens, but I do have a lot of green in my house already. My kitchen is green, my stairs are green, and I love blues. So I thought, maybe a blue. The blues that I'm kind of looking at are on the lighter end of those colors. I don't want to have a repeat mess up of when I painted my office blue and it was so dark and I really didn't like it. But I'm kind of considering these blues here, like this one or one of these two. These are sort of my top contenders. I think it would look quite pretty, quite dreamy to have this painted a nice kind of sky blue with a nice thick cushion on top and some throw pillows, and then have the bookshelves on either side. I swear it's gonna look better than what you're seeing so far. This is just the beginning. So, and yeah, I showed you my handles. I'm so excited to install them. I almost want to put them on now, but I should wait till I paint it, right? And I even wanted to start painting it, but I'm like, no, let me just build out the rest of it and then I'll prime it all at the same time and paint it all at the same time. Once the hardware is on, the handles are on, I think it's gonna look so cute. It's gonna come together really nice. So yeah, next video, I'm gonna build out the bookshelves on either side, which I think will pull this whole thing together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video when I build out the bookshelves on either side. And I'm hoping in that same video I can actually paint this whole thing and have it all finished and coming together so you can finally see what it's gonna look like. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.